When you think of computer science, you might imagine an individual typing until they produce lines of code that, to the average person, looks like gibberish, such as this. But the general thinking of coding is pretty straightforward and logical, where you get a computer to achieve a goal by giving it a simple, even if extensive, set of instructions. Now, while the concept might still feel vague, a familiar analogy to clarify might help. For example, how to do laundry. When first planning to do laundry, you need to determine how many clothes you want to wash and then put them in the washing machine. Of course, you also need to make sure that there aren't too many, which could possibly overload and then damage it, and that there is at least one piece of clothing, or there'd be no point in doing laundry. We can write out some code to represent this. As shown here, we define an integer variable, number of dirty clothes, and we can use if-else statements to check if there are either too many or too few dirty clothes, and if so, the program tells us. Otherwise, it says we're good to go. But even after adding clothes, laundry detergent is essential to cleaning all the dirt and grease off. Therefore, depending on how many clothes were added, we should add corresponding scoops of detergent. To represent this, we can again define an integer, scoops of detergent, and use logical operators, such as before, to determine how many scoops should be added based on the previously listed number of dirty clothes. Finally, depending on if the clothes being washed are just whites or if they contain a mix of colors, that will help us determine if we should add bleach. As shown with the code here, we can define a Boolean variable, which can be either true or false, and call it add bleach. Then we can check if the dirty clothes include both colored and white clothes, with Booleans representing them, and if so, we can avoid adding bleach for this wash, to avoid color bleeding, of course. But if there aren't any whites or only whites, we can add bleach, and make it true. Now that the setup is done, we can actually start washing. To start, we need to add all these things together in the laundry machine, leave it, and let it wash the clothes. We can create a function to represent this called laundry that takes in all the variables we previously created and have it output an estimated time to wash called how long. We can then have it use a do-while loop to repeatedly call the washing machine function to wash the clothes and decrease how dirty they are until they're clean. Of course, if the clothes aren't as clean as expected after the estimated time, the washing machine will continue to wash them until they are clean. When it is done, the while loop ends, the washer stops washing, and the machine tells us that it is done and then waits for us to put the clothes in the dryer. Now, after the clothes have been washed and you're made aware, you can transfer them to the dryer to be dried. This, similarly, can use a do-while loop to call the dryer function until the clothes are dry. The laundry machine will then make a sound and tell you that your clothes have dried. Now, through some simple logic, you have created the outline of code that could be used to do laundry. So, while actively reading and understanding code can be difficult, it really is just a long set of simple instructions that are created based on breaking up complex tasks into many simple comparisons, questions, and logic. I hope this helped your understanding a bit, and thank you for listening.